I have absolutely no idea what I'm reading in February. No idea. So let's find out together, I guess. Hello everybody, I'm Roxy, this is recmebook&stuff, and today I bring you a February TBR, but it's not actually TBR, it's more like a jar update. The jar has been working great for me. It's just that January was such a chaotic month and I haven't been reading a lot, both for good and bad reasons. The good reasons are I've been doing and watching lots of stuff that I love, but the bad stuff are a bit of personal stuff mixed in with I just had the worst luck with some of the books. You'll get to see in my wrap up. But yeah, those kind of slumped me a little bit. All of that resulted in me not having any idea of what I want to read for February. Like, all of it looks equally good. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking quickly, I'm going to speed through it, all the papers that I put in the jar, which by the way, I put more papers since we spoke just because I felt like a lot of books were pulling me, and in order to not mess up my TBR or not start too many books, I sort of quenched the thirst for books by putting them here, because I said, okay, if I really want to read them, I need to wait and I'll put them here. And it worked, actually. It helped me stick to my TBR. So I'm going to be going through this. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be putting in the jar. And then I'm going to be telling you all the other books that I'm going to be putting in the jar. And at the end of the video, I'm going to pull out 3 different books. So that's it. Let's get on with it. Okay, the blue ones were original TBR, so let's see what I have there. The House of Mirth, which was for the Gilmore Girls thing, I'm going to keep that. Link down below if you want to know what that is. Bird by Bird, which was for the Favorite Things reading initiative, I'll link that down below as well. Keeping that. The Remains of the Day, also Gilmore Girls, also keeping that. Art and Artist, not keeping that for now. Out of the orange ones, which were like my free choice ones, I'm going to keep Zelda by Therese Ann Fowler, The Etymologicon by Mike Forsyth, or maybe Mark Forsyth, but yeah, it's a nonfiction book about words. Consider the Lobster, essays by David Foster Wallace, and Canary Road by John Steinbeck. There is a Bolaño short story collection, but I'm not in the mood to discover and be disappointed by more male authors. And since my previous Bolaño experience was bad with The Savage Detectives, I'm just going to skip it. I mean, I do want to give him another chance wholeheartedly. And Amelia from Amelia Reads did say that Little Lumpen Novella was really good and I might like that. But I don't want to risk it right now. I'm very fragile, guys. You'll see in my January wrap-up. Now let's go with the free choices that I put. Yes, I put a lot of them in. I'm mostly keeping the free choice ones because those were the ones that I really wanted to read soon, so it makes sense. I took out some that I don't want to read anymore, but I also took out some that are now for other projects, so I'm not going to be able to read them right away. That's fine. I have The Unbearable Lightness of Being, a book of essays on Cuba, a book that is not translated to English by Benjamin Labatut, Serious Concerns by Wendy Cape, which is a collection of poetry, Towards the Light, but I don't know what the name is in English, which is another Benjamin Labatut book, but that one is translated into English. Tristan Dies by Antonio Tabucchi, Mac and His Problem by Enrique Villamatas, Chasing Venus by Andrea Wolf, Big Little Lies by Liam Moriarty, Julie and Julia by, I think, Julie something, Powell, maybe? She'd Actually by Lindsay West, I think. It's a essay collection on movies and media in general. Downtown Underground, which I'm so looking forward to read, but it also looks like a very slow-going book. There's nothing wrong with that, it's just that nowadays I feel like all my reading has been going very slowly. If on a Winter's Night, A Traveler by Italo Calvino, Harry Potter 2 Illustrated, I really need to get to that one to get to the third one as well. The Good Soldier by Maddox Ford, and Fame by Daniel Kelman, A Secret Sisterhood by Emily Midorikawa, and one more, it's co-authored, I'm so sorry. Now I'm going to go and make more of these little papers and let you know what's up. That was the doorman to let me know that books arrived. I just got Colette Bryce's The Heel of Bernadette, which is poetry collection, and I'm so excited because I've only read her selected poems, never a collection, and Yasmina Reza's Life ×3, I guess, translated by Christopher Hampton. I just love Yasmina Reza so much, and the fact that I love her plays so much means that I don't want her collected plays because I want to have them so it's easy to manipulate and highlight them. It makes no sense, but that's what I want. So they're actually kind of hard to find because now you can't just find the collected plays. In any case, I'm going to be making papers for these two and adding them to the jar. And I'm going to keep all the other papers that are not for other projects, the ones that I could still put back in at some other time, if that makes sense. So I have here more papers with more books. They have logic. If you are thinking right now, gee, this sounds so overtly complicated, welcome to my brain. That's all I've got to say. These green ones, fluor green ones, are ones that I definitely need to get to because they are for projects. However, there is a tiny difference because I included only the Spanish book podcast books and the Invisible Cities one. One of the Invisible Cities ones is really long and I hope I'll get to it, but I'm not making any promises. I also do buddy reads and I'm also doing some other different things like with friends, one-on-one. By friends, I mainly mean Danny and a couple of other friends, but mainly Danny. We do a lot of different crazy stuff together, book-wise. With buddy reads, I just prefer to set the schedules with my buddies and not get the jar involved. So, the things that are going in are Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. Very excited to be getting to Banana Yoshimoto, finally. Chilean Electric by Nona Fernandez. Chilean author. Sadly, that book isn't translated, but Space Invaders, which is really, really good. I already read it. It would be a reread. That is translated. Then for the Invisible Cities project, I have a book of poetry by an author of last name Kavafis, who is Egyptian, so very excited about that one. I've been reading a lot of translated poetry lately. For Colombia, of course I'm doing Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I mean, what else could I do? I'm going to do Innocent Herendida, which is a collection of short stories. And then for China, I have The Song of Everlasting Sorrow by Wang Anji, and I'm very excited. I've already started that book and it's really good. It's so long. Right now, because of January, I'm not in the mood for long books. However, that might change if, I start in February and it's all amazing and it's like, oh my god, I really want to read that. We'll see. Then I have these little light blue things, and I have The Accidental Universe by Alan Lightman, Notes from a Native Son by James Baldwin, and a book of essays by Clarice Lispector, which if I end up reading, I'll look up the title in English or if there is an equivalent thing in English. I have 5 books for something called Read It or DNF It, and it's basically books that I've actually really liked. It's not, except one. I am not avoiding reading them. It's just, I don't know if this happens to you. Once you start a book and you've put it aside, you like it, so it's okay to save it. It's kind of when you don't read more books by an author you already love, which is completely irrational, but we still do it. I have The Unconsoled by Kazuo Ishiguro. I really want to go back to that one. Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis. History of the World in 6 Glasses. I only read beer and I really want to read wine as well, and the rest, of course. Making Oscar Wilde, which I always mentioned, and it was so good. It's just, I don't pick it up. It's also the fact that it's a hardback. Sylvia Beach and Lost Generation, once again, the one that I started reading, but it's so heavy. Then I have the ones that are for the Few Favorite Things readathon, linked down below. I am not extremely concerned with finishing that reading initiative. I'll talk more about it on the wrap-up for that, but I still want to read the books. Oh no, I put one in and I didn't read it. This one was Bolshoi Confidential about ballet, then Fresh Off the Boat, which is memoir, but it's also food writing and it's very interesting and it's about Chinese American life. Then Santiago and La Belle Époque, a book about Santiago during La Belle Époque, but also like how women from aristocratic families interacted with Europe, and yeah, it's very interesting. Speaking of Europe, I also really want to get to the Europeans. I don't know if February will be the month. The odds are not that high, which I enjoy. I enjoy that I really don't know what I'll end up reading in February. And I also have Chepanese, which is the story of Alice Waters and her founding Chepanese, which, as I understood before her, there wasn't a cafe culture in the US, and she imported that notion from Paris. And since I love that whole scene, I really want to read that one. Plus, women entrepreneurs, always good. This is bookish nonfiction. I forget, I have it in Spanish, but I know it's originally in English. It's about how some people rescued manuscript from Timbuktu. Sidetracks by Richard Holmes, which is a collection of travel writing that is also biography. Very excited. Sharp. Oh, so good. I want to read it. I only read the introduction, but it's so good. It's about women who made an art of having an opinion, like Dorothy Parker, Joan Didion, Janet Malcolm, Susan Sontag. So it's so exciting. Mud and Stars, which is half memoir, half travel writing, half literature criticism about Russian literature. Why I Write by George Orwell. This is a very short collection of essays. I've only read Why I Write, but I want to read the rest. Burning the Books, which is a nonfiction book I got recently, all about book burning through history. Then I have The Possessed. Oh, I really want to read that one, by Elif Batman. I'm sorry I keep saying that. I realize if I'm putting them inside the jar, it means that I want to read them. Also, I'm pouring myself some soda. But it's kind of when you do a book haul and you say, I'm so excited for this. Well, you are. It's not a lie. So let's move on. This is so informal. I feel like I started with the best of intentions and so much energy, but it's been a long morning at the end of a long week. Honestly, my head is at lunch already. Then we have music books. Yes, music books in this funky pattern. So we have Beethoven's Skull, which is a book about like weird music facts. Rubato, which is a collection of essays by I think an Italian conductor. Very excited. A book about Bach's library. Apparently Bach was a big reader insofar as you could have a library back in those times. He had like 80 books, which by those standards was like, whoa. The Queen's Throat, which is about opera and queer culture. Very excited. A book called Piano, which is about the making of pianos. Again, very excited. Love Letters of Musicians. I think there are many editions or many books like it. And I don't know, I think my specific edition is translated from English. But of course it features letters translated from many different languages. Then Hugh MacDonald's Music in 1853, which I started and it was going great, and then I didn't continue because that's the story of my life. But I'm super excited because it covers late romantic period, which is my favorite period, so yeah. Then How to Listen to Jazz by Ted Gioia. Funny story. I started this when I was just starting to take piano lessons, and I've always liked jazz and I always wanted to be more educated in jazz. And I was really enjoying it, but then I had to decide whether I wanted to center on jazz piano or classical piano, and I chose classical piano and kind of didn't listen to jazz for like months because I was so busy listening to classical music exclusively. But lately I've been returning to jazz, and I've also gotten a lot into symphonic jazz and jazz infused classical music, so yeah. Then I also have The Triumph of Music. Did I put something else without saying what it was?
No, it seems like it's okay. I don't know, well.
It's not like you're keeping count. I've talked about so many books that I don't think I'll be able to list them down below. Also don't think I'll put pictures. So this is basically just me talking about books, but if you hear a title that calls out to you, please comment on it. I hope you enjoy this type of chatty video. I edit myself a lot, and I will edit myself in here too, because I am very rambly, and I feel like even with the editions you can tell that, but I'm letting myself be more casual for this video. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so now I have fiction books that I want to read. Natural History of Dragons, which would be a reread, but I want to continue on to the second one. Short Stories by Edgardo Kosarinsky, which is an Argentinian author I adore. I read a novella by him last year, and I really want to read the short stories. Night Boat to Tangier by Kevin Barry. I just put it in. I really respect him, and I want to read more by him. Like by Alice Smith. The Gift by Vladimir Nabokov. That book, if I should get it, I'm very excited to read, but I know it's dense and complicated, and so it will be like a time and attention investment, but I'm very excited. Then Keep the Expedition Flying by George Orwell. Really want to read that one. Master and Margarita, which I was so sure I would get to last year and I did not. Like People in History, which is about gay men. The Bacchae, as translated by Anne Carson. The Lottery and Other Short Stories by Shirley Jackson. I read The Lottery and a couple of other short stories, but I haven't read the whole thing cover to cover. Faust, Part 1 by Goethe. I really need to read that one. And they say it's super fun. I'm excited, but I just haven't gotten to it. Bad Behavior by Mary Gaskill. I haven't read any Mary Gaskill. Can you believe that? Bonjour Tristesse by François something Saganic. Well, it's a short story collection by a French author. The Hearing Trumpet, novella by Leonora Carrington. The Dream Life of Sukhanov. It's about like an older man and he's an artist and stuff starts happening. Translation, The Play, which I've seen performed live and it was amazing and I really want to read it. Tender is the Night by Fitzgerald. Never read that one. Night and Day by Virginia Woolf. Speedboat by Renata Adler, which is a book I wouldn't have normally read. I mean, if someone had told me about it, probably, but the only reason I found out about it was because it is one of Joan Didion's favorite books and I really want to read it. Stir Fry, Emma Donohue's first book, very curious. The Passion of the H by Clarice Lispector. I had Aqua Viva here, but I'm going to body read it with Danny sometime soon-ish, so I don't want to put it here. Reservoir 13. And the book that was missing, The Dinner by Koch. Okay, so now this is actually closer to an actual TBR jar. The thing is that it's not going to stay here because March is Marching Mammoth and Irish Readathon, so it's going to look very, very different. But yeah, this is what I have now, so I'm going to mix it up a bit. And I'm going to be taking one green one. No, it's too early. I'm not going to take any green ones yet. I'm going to take a music one. That was really important. If I can remember which ones were the music ones. One fiction one. And yeah, the other is going to be blind. Okay, so this one jumped. So let's do that one. This is not music. Which one was music again? I think this one was music. Okay, let's see. Piano, yes. Okay, I'm reading a book on piano. Nice. Then this one is, The Dream Life of Sukhanov. That's good. You know, because I had kind of forgotten about that book, although I got it last year because I was so into Russian literature, before realizing that it was actually Russian-American literature. So I'm reading that, and let's see, one more. Oh, this is so nerve-wracking because I feel like last month I kind of knew all the books that were in there, but now it's much more random. Okay, and Serious Concerns, which is a poetry book. So I'm actually very happy with today's selection. It's good, guys. So yeah, I'm very happy with how things turned out. This is the jar, and on the videos that I film from now on, I'm going to try to include, if I can, a jar picking. I think this will be up before my best of videos, but those I filmed before, so those will be an exception. But other than that, I'm going to try and show you, because a couple of people did mention that they liked the excitement and like my genuine surprise when I took books out. So yeah, this is the jar. It's working great for me, and hopefully February will be a better reading month. And that's it for today. Please do let me know what you'll be reading in February if you're especially interested in any of the books I very casually mentioned. I'm sorry, I'm just not up to putting all those pictures and all those titles, but if I get to them, you'll hear about them, which is always good. Remember to check out the Bibliophile Daily and all my other social media down below. See you next time!